Hey everyone, today I wanted to walk you through the Vibe Coding Fundamentals course. It is finally finished. I've been working on it for a few months now, and it's kind of taken shape as I've been working on it. I've adapted it to a few things as well. So I wanted to dive in and kind of walk through so you can see exactly what it is if you sign up for the course. So let's go ahead and dive in here. And if you go into courses up on the top, let's go into Vibe Coding Fundamentals. We have about 10 sections, 10 modules. And in the first section, it's just an introduction into what vibe coding is. So we talk about where it came from, also the different terms. We talk about different tips, kind of a shifting role with instructional development and what that means and how you can really take advantage of vibe coding. We talk about different tips and tricks and a different mindset when you're creating content and creating different applications. We also get into the product requirement document, which is a document that will help you define the type of product that you want to create, whether it's a storyboard for an e-learning course or whether it be an application that you want to build for your organization. This product requirement document can help you think through that, and you can even use ChatGPT or Claude to help you think through it as well. So we'll talk about that in this section. We then dive in and use the same prompt in several different tools. I want to give you a taste of all the different vibe coding tools that are out there and really see what types of results that you get from each of them. So it's not an extensive dive into each of them. It's more of a like, okay, we're going to take this same prompt, we're going to put it in this, we're going to put it in that, we're going to put it in that. Hopefully it helps you see the different tools and possibilities and get an idea of what works, what doesn't work as well. Or even let you see, okay, I like that tool. I like how it does this, and get you an opportunity to kind of look into that or experiment with those tools. Then we actually start to dive in and work with vibe coding with both ChatGPT and Claude. So we dive in a little bit deeper. We talk about what web components are and how they're kind of the building blocks to be able to create content. And then we get into ChatGPT and talk about projects and how that can help you create content better and come back to content as well. We also get into creating a carousel with ChatGPT, an interactive game. Then we get into Claude and how Claude handles projects and build a full interaction inside of Claude. And then we talk about a game and then exporting out your HTML, your custom HTML as well. So we really dive into ChatGPT, we really dive into Claude to help you experiment with both of those and dive a little bit deeper than we did in the last section. After that, we then start to take the content that we build in both ChatGPT and Claude and put it into Rise and get a completion inside of Rise. And I talk about how to do that. We also talk about how to save your content for later use as well, and then get it into Storyline and how you work with it inside of Storyline. We then dive into a vibe coding tool that I really like called Cursor that allows you to build content locally. So it is almost like Visual Studio Code, Dreamweaver, any other tool like that. You can go in and you can use Cursor to build vibe coded interactions that are a little bit more robust than what we did inside of ChatGPT and Claude. So after that, we then dive into literally one of my favorite applications called Lovable. And Lovable is essentially, it allows you to create and host content. So you can create full applications automatically integrated with a database, and you can do all of that pretty easily with Lovable. So we dive into that and we actually build a task application, just a simple application to help you get started. We talk about different versions and versioning and publishing your project, connecting it with GitHub as well. And then we dive into databases because in the first section, we talk about Lovable, we don't really tie into a database. So if you hit refresh, your data goes away. So a database allows you to save data and to tie it to a specific user. So we talk about in this section, we talk about creating a user login. We talk about also publishing out security checks because when you're working with data, you're now having to worry about security. So we talk about that. And then also saving the user preferences and then adding analytics. Because the data is inside of the database, we can now add analytics and grab any type of data and report on that data as well. And Lovable can help us create that. So this is where we really start to create an application, to a full application that allows us to publish this out for our organization or really solve a problem. If you see a problem in your organization, you can create an application that will help you solve that problem. And then we just wrap up with databases, but then we get into GitHub. And in GitHub, we talk more about using GitHub Desktop, connecting GitHub and Lovable, and then getting files from GitHub, and then putting it on Vercel, which is like one of my favorite hosting services as well. And then we also talk about hosting it on AWS, GitHub Pages, if you just want to keep all your files inside of GitHub. And then finally, we wrap up with a hands-on project where we go everything from A to Z in creating an application that will help you create a Jeopardy-style game over and over. So you can basically just go in and add your own questions. And we even walk through how to implement AI to be able to generate some of the questions and generate some of your game as well. So there is a lot that we cover. It does get a little bit deep, but we don't cover any code at all inside of this application. We cover how to work with some code files with Cursor and with Lovable and GitHub and stuff like that, but you're not having to know any type of code. Now, while you could just stick with the first part of just using ChatGPT and Claude inside of Rise and Captivate and Storyline and other things like that, I wanted to make sure that I covered how to create full applications, because that's really where it allows you to expand even more. And again, create the solutions for the problems that your organization has, which adds a lot more value to your organization by having you, because you're the one that's solving those problems. And that really is the main goal of my channel, this course, and everything with Vibe Coding, is to really help equip you to be able to create the solutions that your organization needs and to use tools more powerfully to be able to implement whatever you need to implement in your organization. So hopefully you see that. Right now, until the end of April, I am running a special. If you go to the homepage right here, I am running a special, so you get 30% off. That will end by the end of April. If you're watching this video after April, unfortunately the time has ended, but I do run specials every once in a while, so you can come back and check that out. All right, that's all I have. So thanks everyone. I'll see you next time.